Righty-ho, welcome everybody. It is our third edition of Lockdown Discs, and as you can see, I've got a familiar face, another familiar Supersport face, and interesting, actually, I was thinking about it. It wasn't planned this way, but I've ended up having a mixture of soccer, and the first guest with Terry Payne, Pommy and Bungwa being a cricketer, and some might argue, at last, some brains, because we've gone down to the rugby avenue.
Yeah.
That'll probably miff a few cricketers and soccer players, but Shimmi, welcome. It's Hanyani Shimange who's joining me, and of course, as you know, Shimmi, that you've got 5 songs to take into lockdown. But first of all, let me find out how the lockdown's going. How are you and the family? How you going with this COVID-19?
I'm very good, thanks. Look, I think it's been well. I don't want to say challenging because you sound like a spoiled brat compared to you're actually more thankful for what you've got, compared to what people out there and the struggles they're going through. So I think every day you appreciate what you got. Watching my little girl grow up, spending time with my son, with my wife. So I'm more grateful and have a more positive outlook. The only thing you wish you could do more to help other people, being on websites trying to donate. You wish you could get out there in the streets and actually try and make a difference out there. So I can't complain. What's generally going to happen is life will go back to normal, and you'll probably think one day when things are really busy.
Yeah, it's one of those things, I guess.
That, appreciate what you got, because people out there.
Yeah, it's an interesting time for all, and of course, the truth of the matter is that you are doing your bit by staying at home, because if you go out there and try and help. And it might not be you, of course, that are the person who end up getting sick, but you might pass it on to, we were talking about this with Pommy in yesterday's show, that, you might end up giving it to somebody who's vulnerable in your family, and that's the worst possible thing. Just for those who are tuning in for the first time and perhaps missed what this is all about, so we've given a broad range of it, but I'll tell you that it's briefly based on the old desert island discs where someone was cast away and said, right, you've got a couple of songs to take onto your desert island, what are you going to do? I've varied it a little bit by cutting it back to 5 songs. So Shimmi will come up with 5 songs, 5 tracks that he's going to take, 2 movies and a book. He gets whatever his holy book might be, whether that be the Bhagavad Gita, the Quran, or the Bible, whatever it is. We won't go down that avenue, but he gets to take that and 1 other book. So Shimmi, great to have you along, and I'm looking forward to your selection. So in no particular order, my friend, what is the first song that you're taking into lockdown?
Look, you need some classics, something that will cheer you up. So it will be Bob Marley, 3 Little Birds. It transcends generations, and anytime you're feeling down, it always gives you that feel-good feeling. So for me, I'm thinking lockdown. You by yourself. If you're by yourself, what's going to cheer up and put you in a good mood with something with a bit of soul and feeling. And then must I go into the next song?
No. We're going to stick with and go through one by one. But it's interesting because Pommy yesterday took Bob Marley with him as well. He didn't take your particular song. He took another. He took Jammin' along. And we were talking about it, saying that I actually said, not knowing that you were going to come up with a Bob Marley song, I said he's one of those artists that transcends all types of music, and whether it be Redemption Song or whether it be No Woman, No Cry, he is a guy who will be accompanying many, I guess, in lockdown, because he just got it. He had a unique voice, eh?
Spot on. It goes across all genres, all demographics. Everybody, you go anywhere in the world and you play a bit of Bob Marley, everyone's happy and satisfied.
Okay, well, what we've got for you is a little bit of the Bob Marley song, so I'm going to just make sure that I switch it up a little bit, and we're going to go on to 3 Little Birds. Here it is. We all know it, of course.
There we go. And you got it. That's right. That's the job every single time. It's difficult to see which song you're going to choose, actually. But
it's a great lyric for now. Don't worry about it, baby. Every little thing is gonna be all right.
It's gonna be all right. Brilliant. It works the whole time. It's just which song to choose, which was difficult.
Very, very good advice for right now. The Bob Marley and the Wailers, and well, these days there's a bit of wailing going on, probably. But as you say, and none of us can really complain because there's so many people in the world in worse condition and in worse poverty and whatever might be. So whatever our blessings are, and they are many, we certainly count them. Right, second choice. So Bob Marley, number one. Take us through your second selection.
Look. I've got a whole variety. I went for Tupac, "Dear Mama." It's quite a sad song, and I was wondering, would I really want to listen to it? But for me, it reminds me of family, and I'm enjoying family, remembering the sacrifices family made for you. It obviously involves your mother. Most boys love their moms, so I thought for me that's a song that I like. It's I've always loved that song. It's emotive. It works for me. So that's the reason. It's quite a sad song, to be honest with you, but it is what it is. I think even the toughest rapper of all time loved his mother.
You know, it's quite interesting because I wouldn't necessarily have thought that there would be some synergy on this level with you and Terry Payne. But can you believe it? A couple of nights ago, Terry Payne was talking about his mother. But
no way.
He did date a little bit because he was telling a story of how his mother used to tell him to shut the song up, and it was Elvis Presley singing Jailhouse Rock, which kind of did age him a little bit. But it struck me because I never thought of Terry Payne being told to be shut up by his mother. But so he was relaying fond stories of his own mom. So here's Tupac. Let's play a little bit of it, and then you can tell me a bit more.
And the baby would never be with me, but I was acquitted a month and 3 days before Tupac was born. I was really
so this is
that's his mother talking. This is mom talking before. But I was born. I think was born in jail or something like that. Or she was in jail when Tupac was born. We talk about his love that it make my mama's face. So I'm starting. So this is probably one of my favorite artists, and this is his one of my favorite songs from Tupac. So it's quite a sad one, but it's meaningful. It's meaningful.
So tell me, because like many, and similar to Pommy last night, and in all of us, in fact, I was relaying my own story of how you grow up perhaps with your own parents, and that's your first interaction with music. Then you go out into the big wide world, and you get friends, you get influenced by them, and then you have work colleagues. And Pommy was pointing out that when he went and traveled, he would pick up different song types, different artists, and other people's songs interests rubbed off on him. Have you gone through the same experience that you've picked up and heard, oh, well, maybe this rugby player's listening to that, I quite like that, and got into that?
Yeah, look, I think I got my sort of, like I like Ray Charles for some reason, and I like him because when we used to travel with my dad, we used to travel from Limpopo down to the Eastern Cape. We'd be playing the old CDs in the car. So I can sing along probably to, Human Cycle is one of my songs, and that was from traveling with my parents the whole time. And obviously spending a lot of time traveling on the road with the rugby guys, that influenced the music. I like being in boarding school, in the boarding house, there's always a big music influence there. Before you went to bed, you'd sort of come back and every guy had a radio in his room. So music was always an integral part in the change room, when you're celebrating, when you're out, when you're traveling, when I was with my folks. So there's a big influence around my folks in the music, because that's when I was young, and with my dad, you didn't really have a choice in the car of what you're going to listen to. So he sort of brought his music and you chose which one you liked, So I like the Motown classics, and I don't remember a lot of the names, but I remember Ray Charles was quite big.
Yeah. Smokey Robinson, probably another one, because Pommy had a Smokey Robinson song.
Yeah, and that's all from just traveling. We didn't fly around a lot those days. It was in the car. It was the old the tapes, not even CDs, the tapes, I think, and in the car, and everybody listened to the same music, and we'd sing along with my siblings.
Okay, so Tupac, a name, of course, that's synonymous with so many, and a remarkable story, remarkable music, and Dear Mama is the second song or track that Shimmy is taking with him. Let's have a break from the music. So far you've had Tupac and you've had Bob Marley, who's not worrying about a thing. What's your first movie that you've gone for? I mean, you could have gone for Ray the movie. If you're that into Ray Charles, you might have gone for Ray because that was a great movie.
No, it's a fantastic movie, great actor. But I went for something. I went for Snatch. It's a Guy Ritchie movie. Yeah, it's probably one of the funniest movies. I've watched it 100 times, and I still laugh, even though I know what scene's coming. I just find I love Guy Ritchie movies. He's had Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. I think he did King Arthur, and I've just enjoyed all his Rock and Roller also. But Snatch is my favorite movie. It's hilarious. It's got a good storyline. It's about London. You know, I love that London humor, the dry humor they have there. So for me, Snatch. If I was by myself anywhere, I could watch Snatch every single day.
That's the one. That's the one with Brad Pitt in it, eh?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, Brad Pitt, the gypsy there, the boxer with the bare knuckle
Absolutely,
boxer.
yeah. Well, you need subtitles.
With Vinny, and Vinny Jones also. What's his name? Bullet Tooth Tony. There's Bricktop. You know, it's got all these funny Turkish also. So just the humor and the dialogue for me is incredibly funny. I love that movie.
Okay, so Pommy's taking Snatch, a Guy Ritchie fan, like many would be. A great movie, and that's his first choice of movies. Right, let's go back to the music and your third track. What have you chosen for the third track to take into lockdown, Shimmy?
Also, one of my favorite artists is more contemporary. It's Kanye West. And he's tried all sorts. I think he's a musical genius. This last one was his gospel album. It's a short song. It's about 25, 26 seconds, I think. And it's Jesus is King. I listen to it. I'm not the most religious guy, admittedly. But every time I'm just feeling down in the morning or you're stuck in traffic, I always listen to it and I find myself singing along to it. It's about 2 or 3 lines. He repeats it. It's got quite a strong beat. And I just somehow... I enjoyed it. I mean, someone said, I saw Kanye West doing gospel music. No chance. I bought the album on Spotify and I thought, shucks, you know, this guy's an absolute genius. He's done it again.
Well, 2 things struck me. Not that I didn't know you were religious, but when it came through Kanye West and I saw the same thing, I thought, really? I didn't even know he'd done that. And so I was surprised, A, that it was a selection of yours, and B, that Kanye West had done that. So I'm glad that you've elaborated on it. But having listened to it, it is catchy. I can see exactly why you want to take it into lockdown. And for those that don't know, here it is, because Kanye West, I hope I've got the right one, because I had to guess a little bit, but I think that's what we have.
Okay, let's listen. Yeah. Yeah, very catchy beat. The production's great, and it's not a long song. I think it's close to 30 seconds. But I put that thing on repeat and I drive the whole time. I go from being down and out to being in a great mood when I listen to this. That's it. Yeah.
We put our faith. Kingdom, the kingdom, our demons, our trembling.
This is one of the other songs. You got the other song.
No, it's not the one.
The other song. You know, it's not the one. No, it sounds very similar. It's not the one.
Okay.
But this is from the album. It's very similar there.
Well, I tell you why I ended up downloading that one, because the one, it was interesting. You say it was quite short, but it must be an introduction, because the one was like a 2-hour set. So it's probably something that he's done over the album. It could be one of those that doesn't have particular tracks on, but I'm fascinated that he sings it.
Yeah, look, I just thought, you know, this guy, he just comes up with great albums from where he started the production. He's one of the greatest selling musicians. He manages to stay relevant. But I never thought I'd be listening to gospel albums until Kanye West convinced me. So that's what I like about it. It's uplifting. And if you're on an island again, you know, you're feeling down or whatever it is, in lockdown, this is a song to sort of lift your spirits.
Yeah, well, it's quite interesting, because when I was, I suppose, doing a pilot or demo for this, I got my wife to stay in another room in the house, and she was playing your role. And so she gave me her Desert Island discs or lockdown discs. And after the 5th song, I said, you're going to commit suicide on this island, because they're all desperately miserable. I mean, didn't you bring anything like up tempo. So they were all, well, they weren't really miserable. They were just very spiritual. But you need a bit of spirituality for sure in lockdown. I mean, you can't go singing Bob Marley, "Don't Worry About a Thing" all the time.
No, you'll never eat. You'll never go hunting or whatever you do on that island. So, look, for me, it was more, yeah, what's uplifting, what's meaningful, what's got some meaning or some purpose behind it than anything else. Otherwise, no, it's songs that you can put on repeat, to be honest with you, and listen to it over and over again without getting too depressed.
You know, I'm glad you said it's personal, because at the end of the day, that was my thought process of doing the lockdown discs was exactly that. Because we all work together and people see you on television, and I'm going to go through a whole bunch of different people. They're not just going to be TV Supersport folks, because there's a lot of interesting people out there. But music is so personal, and it's interesting because you get a sense of the person when you ask them these questions and what they listen to and anything. So that was the whole idea. So I'm glad that you came with a mixed bag and are sharing it with us. What about the book? What book did you come up with?
It was actually a book I read. I read quite a lot, and it was. I remember. You don't remember a book called Shantaram?
I know the name.
It was about a guy that escapes prison. I think it was either in Australia or New Zealand. And then he goes to India. He ends up being, I think, stuck in Bombay.
Shantaram, eh? I think we've lost Hanyani there for a moment. We'll hopefully get him back. Yeah, let me see if I can Google that while we try and get that sorted. And are you back with us? I was going to Google it. Shantaram, eh?
Yeah, that's right. Can you see me? Can you see me now?
Yeah. I've got you back. Yeah. I lost you for a brief moment.
Look, I mean, I read it a while ago, but I remember it was one of those books that you couldn't put down. You know, the guy he escapes prison in Australia to go to I can't remember which country, but he ends up stopping in India.
Okay, I've got it here. A novel by Gregory David Roberts.
Yeah, he gets robbed.
So I'll give you.
For
the guys who want to read it, hopefully there's more than one copy, because Shimmi's taking his copy with him into lockdown, but I'm sure there's more than one copy. Shantaram is a 2003 novel by Gregory David Roberts, in which a convicted Australian bank robber and heroin addict escapes from Pentridge prison and flees to India. You're spot on. The novel is commended by many for its vivid portrayal of tumultuous life in Bombay. There you go. So that's what Shimmi is taking to read. So Shimmi, we're going back to the music, matey, and we're going to choose our next track, or you're going to choose your next track, which is going to be what?
It was Huma Sikela. And it's called Fela. So look, I've always liked his music. That's probably from my dad driving the whole time. My dad's a big Huma Sikela fan, so I've always grown up around his music. I like the song purely because it's got that African feel, and I like Fela Kuti, also the Nigerian artist. And when I listen to this, I realize that they're friends, and it's basically talking about if you ever go to Nigeria and you start singing one of Fela Kuti's songs, which I like, you know. So I just like the connection between the two. And, you know, Huma Sikela obviously travel around the world a lot. So I'm well known in Africa. So just the feel of the song celebrating African music, it reminds you of home, you know. So I love that song. I love a lot of Huma Sikela songs, but if I had to choose one, it would probably be this one.
Well, here it is. We'll listen to a little bit of it, and then we'll come back and do our second movie. But here is Huma Sikela.
You'll see. If you ever go to Lagos, Nigeria, in the beginning, go to Lagos, Nigeria, and you wanna go dancing. Go out and see Fela. So yeah, it's a great song, also uplifting song. It's two sort of great icons of African music, or you know, and yeah, I like the way that, you know, he's almost dedicated that song to him as a fellow friend, an African.
The one thing. Dare I say it, Shimmi, you must be a good dancer. I'll tell you why, because all of your tracks have got a real beat to them. You like dancing? You still dance?
No, I'm a terrible dancer. And I'm a terrible singer also. I got, if it would be rare to see me dancing. I'll dance. If I have to, I'll dance. But I'm not out there as a dancer. But I enjoy listening to music. This was difficult for me choosing the 5 songs. I tell you what, it took a while to think about it because I listened to different kinds of music and everything. But just, obviously you said lockdown classics, what would I choose? So you almost go through songs that you've listened to for a while and songs that will keep you going.
Yeah.
But the rhythm is probably, I didn't realize they've all got a good rhythm, but I'm not a big dancer.
Well,
I'll never confess to be.
The last song, we're going to get to that now. The last song, which I hadn't heard of, although when I Googled it, there was a version with Erykah Badu singing on it, and I know her quite well. But the song which we'll do last has really got a catchy beat to it. I was giving it the thing, which we'll get to in about.
That's what you do.
Yeah.
You don't need to do more than that. Just go. That's it. That's it.
Well, before we get to your last track, Shimmi, that you're taking into lockdown, what was your second movie? Snatch was your first movie. What is your second movie that you're taking into lockdown?
Second movie, it's actually it's a sports documentary. Playing sports, my one ultimate hero and sports icon has been Muhammad Ali. So it's called When We Were Kings. It's a documentary about his fight. Basically, it's about he comes out of exile. Obviously the self-imposed, well, I would say self-imposed exile when you refuse to go to the military, to go to Vietnam, and his lead up to the fight against George Foreman, the Rumble in the Jungle. So it's about that, and it's a great documentary. So much meaning behind it. Muhammad Ali, more than an athlete, an absolute icon. So for me, I've always loved. It's been my favorite documentary. And the way, there's actually a young Miriam Makeba in there. There's BB King when they go to Zaire. It's incredible, the artists that went there. It was the first sort of big fight held in Africa. It was the biggest fight ever held in Africa, actually.
So when I saw the name of the movie, and I was trying to place it because I thought I'd seen it, and then I got a little bit confused because there was that other movie which is about the Maoris once they were warriors, and I thought, could it be in that? And I thought, no, it wasn't.
No, I wouldn't be that, definitely.
No, it wouldn't, in case any Kiwis are watching. But now that you mention it, I definitely did see it, and I remember it stuck with me because it had a lot of black and white old footage.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it was really good. Clinton van der Berg at Supersport will be very happy you've chosen a boxing movie. You'll probably at least get a complimentary WhatsApp from him or a tweet. But yeah, a great movie. And just coming back to Cassius Clay, who became Muhammad Ali, I mean, probably in my mind, and I think we were talking about it on one of our weekend shows before the lockdown, probably the top 3 athletes of all time in terms of what he achieved and what he did for rights and what he did for actually just that whole ability to pump yourself up and talk the talk, the Louisville Lip, as he was called.
Yeah, exactly, the Louisville Lip. Just incredible, his beliefs. He stood for what he believed in. He was willing to sacrifice. And another thing with him is he loved people. You see him when he's running through the streets of Kinshasa there, and then the whole Ali Boumbaye came through. He had time for everybody, talking to everybody, getting the crowd around him. Just a lovable individual. I've actually got a signed boxing glove. Muhammad Ali, when a friend of mine gave to me here at home. So he got married, and his wife said, "What's he doing in the house?" And I said, "I'll take it." And he said, "Yeah, you gotta get." So luckily, I just thank his wife for that. But yeah, incredible athlete. I've been watching a lot of, obviously without the live sports, a lot of documentaries now, and I still, incredible athlete, incredible person, more transcended sports, and an actual icon,
Listen,
which is phenomenal.
Your friend's lucky, but that it was a boxing glove. There might be some people at home whose wives are saying to their husbands, "What are you doing in the house?" Never mind about a boxing glove. Lockdown.
Well, I wouldn't take him home, definitely. I'll definitely take the Muhammad Ali. But it's a great. If you haven't seen it, between that and Fire and Babylon about the West Indies cricket team. Those are two great.
That's on catch up at the moment, isn't it? I haven't. Yeah, I must watch it.
That's brilliant. That's excellent also.
Yeah.
That's very good.
I've seen some good ones on there. They're all very good, and we're blessed actually that we've got catch up and DSTV to enjoy ourselves. Okay, Shimmi, we come to the last song, and as I've already said, it's got a great beat. I'll tell you what we'll do. First of all, let's listen to a few notes of it. It's called What They Do, and it's the Roots. You can hear what I'm saying about the beat, folks. Listen to this. I have to say, it's a family show, so it's probably just as well I'm not showing the video, because there was a lot of things going on by the swimming pool, which I wouldn't have slept.
Yeah, that's what they do. That's what they do.
That's what they do.
That's what you stay away from. Exactly. There's some life lessons in it.
Let's listen, listen.
There we go. See, you look like the dancer, Ian, yeah?
Money making, pretend to be cats, don't seem to know their limitation. Exact replication and false representation. You want to be a man that stands your own. To MC requires skills, I demand some show. I let the thoughts keep.
Yeah, nice lyric too, actually. For some people who aren't open-minded, of course, they shut off straight away and say, "Oh, that's not my type of music." But if you let it, if you go with the,
you got to listen to the lyrics.
Yeah, it's a good lyric. So why the Roots? Because, as you said, you had only 5 choices, and this was one of them. Why?
Look, I just like also behind this, the meaning of the song. It's about not commercializing hip hop. It's like anything else, you know. Be true to your craft. Stick to what makes it great. Put effort in. You know, and it's about also not being too materialistic in this life of ours we live. You know, that's what I enjoy. I think what you saw in the pool was probably the commercialization of hip hop and what people, the shallowness that sometimes people have in the material things that people chase. Whereas, you know, this song is about, you know, keeping it real, working towards your craft. You know, and if you're good and you work hard at it, you'll get the rewards without having to be fake.
And I think it's a perfect.
That's what I like about it.
Yeah, and it's a perfect song for lockdown, because I think, you know, lockdown's been tough on. It doesn't matter where you are and who you are. Everybody's got their trials and tribulations. We know that some. I think we'll all agree that we're probably a lot better than most. But everybody, of course, has been forced to probably reevaluate what's important in their lives.
Yeah, that's true.
Out of that comes some goodness. I mean, before we went on air, actually, and you reminded me to press record, we were talking about...
Please tell me that. Yeah. Yeah, did you press record? I hope you did.
So do I. Otherwise, we're going to have to do it again. I think so. Put it this way, I'll be phoning you at about 7:45 tomorrow night if we haven't. But I think
no problem, no worries. No, it's fun. Yeah, look, that's what the song is about. Look, I didn't realize you could attach it to lockdown, but for me, it's just keeping things real, staying grounded, working hard, enjoying what you do. And the Roots are a great band. You know, they've got great albums, great music, and also I think the fake and, you know, the materialistic music is the stuff that will be around. If we do this 10 years later, chances are I'd probably still come back to some of the songs I've made now, and the rest there'll be more rubbish that's been swept under the carpet, and that's why I chose majority of these songs. It was challenging, I won't lie. You have to think quite deeply about it, but you need some upliftment, some meaning, some purpose, and I think all these songs that I mentioned have got a little bit of all of that.
Well, you've given us plenty of food for thought. Some of them we're very familiar with, of course, some of those names, Hugh Masekela's, the Bob Marleys, but you also hopefully expanded a few horizons for us. Most importantly, stay well, stay strong, as is the message that we have to everybody out there who's watching these lockdown discs. And you've heard Hanyani's 5 tracks. Shim, thanks very much for spending some time for us. I know it's late there. We've both got young kids. I think... yours is just turning 3 months, and mine's probably 2 weeks past 3 months, but we've actually done well to stay up and get this far.
Yeah, well, we'll be awake in about 2 hours' time. Don't worry. So
Exactly.
hopefully they sleep through. But thanks, Neil. Thank you. Great, man. This was really good. Eh?
Yeah,
Yeah,
good. No,
different
it's
from
great.
talking about scrums and lineouts. It was good fun. Thank you very much.
Well, exactly.
Rebecca.
We thought we'd get away from a bit of sport for a while. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thanks very much to Shimmi, who's taken us with his 5 selections, his 2 movies and his book. And we thank him for being part of Lockdown Discs right here. So stay with us. We'll have more to come. Thanks for joining us.